Alright guys, MTech Guy here, and today we're going to be taking a look at resolving an issue which I've been experiencing with the E30 that's been really bugging me, and it's to do with them beautiful German tartan seats, the Ubercaro fabric covered seats. Now the adjustment is a bit clunky on both of the seats. I'm assuming that the gas struts have started to fail, so that's an issue that I'm going to address another day. But more important than that, what's been going on is the passenger seat. I can no longer tilt it forward. When I first got the car, it did still operate okay, but it was very stiff, that lever, and it eventually got stiffer and stiffer until I just about had to force it and something broke. And the other thing is that passenger seat, it has got a bit of a clonky wobble to it as well. The driver's side does feel nice and solid, but that passenger seat, there's certainly something going on with the frame. So let's get some tools together, let's get the seat out of the car, and let's see if we can resolve these issues. Right, to start off with, we need to get the seat out of the car to give ourselves enough room to work on it. So to be able to remove it, there's two nuts holding it at the front, at the seat rails, and then there's two bolts holding it at the rear. They take a 17mm socket. So I've slid the seat backwards to gain access to these two front ones, and then I'll slide it forwards and remove the two bolts holding it down at the rear. Alright, so that's the seat out. Now before you get too carried away, you just want to make sure that you keep your hands nice and clean, because we don't want to get dirty fingerprints all over that beautiful fabric, especially if you've got a light fabric like mine. And then just make sure that your tools are clean also, so just be mindful of that as you're working away. You don't want to create yourself more work further down the line. So first up, with the seat out, we'll remove the headrest. That just pulls up and out. It does require a little bit of force to get that last bit out of the seat. And now with the headrest removed, we need to remove this back piece here to gain access to the mechanism. So the first step to get the back section off is we need to remove this plastic piece here, and to get that off we need to pull this handle off here. So just grab a hold of this and it should just pull off. And then to remove this cover here, we're going to use a plastic trim removal tool. So we're just going to insert it in the top and pop that out. So you need to push down at the same time on this clip, pop that out. And then this pin just pulls out from the bottom straight out. And on the other side, so we need to do the same with that, well similar. We'll pop the handle off, pop the cover off, and we need to remove the handle itself, and that's held in with a screw just underneath. It takes a number 2 Phillips. And then next up, there's 2 screws down the bottom here holding this cover onto the seat. They take a number 2 Phillips also. Now the problem I've got here, I'm going to struggle to get a direct shot with a screwdriver because I can't tip that seat back right forward. I've got the adjustment forward as much as I can on that lower lever, but of course I can't tilt it right forward as if you were letting a passenger through the back. So what I might do is just use a Phillips head bit on a 1/4 inch ratchet. Might be able to get it like this. Oh, there we go. Now then, we can pull the bottom section out, and then up here there's a metal bar underneath there with a couple of hooks that are attached to this. So once we've pulled the bottom out, then I'll just lift that up carefully, and then that should come up and away. And then as you lift it off, just be aware that you got this lever over this side, so you're going to have to unhook it off of that. Right, so this is the guts of it here, so you can see the whole mechanism, how the two levers either side join together, and then there's a cable going to the bottom to unlatch the bottom of the seat back, and then that is what allows it to tip forward. So if we take a look here, you can see I've got the broken cable. Now I've just adjusted the backrest back a wee bit. Now if we take a look at here, you know it had that bit of a wobble. It had almost like it would twist like that. It had a bit of play in this side. Well, often what will happen is this little corner bracket down here will break, and you can usually repair it by re-welding it. I thought that would be the case here, but it does actually look okay, but there is still a bit of a wobble there, and I think it's just due to this screw being loose, which is very common on these seats. It's almost a preventative maintenance item. You want to just make sure they're nipped up once in a blue moon, because once you get that slack there, it can cause the brackets to break, and also that play is going to affect your cable, and you're going to end up with this because it's not going to allow it to unlatch and tip forward because of that bit of movement. You can see there's the screw, so that needs nipping up before we go any further. And this takes a number 3 Phillips. Give it a good nip, eh? We'll just check the other side too while we're here. Right, that's tightened that up. No more loose backrest, and I'm pleased about that because I thought I was going to end up having to re-weld that. So next up we need to gain access to the other end of this, which hides behind here. So if we spin around, so I've got this plastic nut here. Obviously that unscrews with a flat blade screwdriver, but it's only held on by a very shallow coarse threaded copper rod behind there. When you refit this, you actually just push it on, so it doesn't need a great deal of force to get that out. Now we can remove the plastic cover. Now this can be a wee bit tricky, so if you feel around the bottom here, you'll feel there's an overlap, and then where the overlap stops, just here, we're going to grab a hold of it and pull it away from the seat. Now there's 2 pegs holding it, it just slides off, so you can actually grab it down the bottom and then up here about 2 o'clock. That was the pin that's holding it, and that's what plastic nut attaches to. Right, so this is the other end of the cable. So before we go pulling it out, we'll just take a look at the routing of the cable. So that bottom section, the end of it's just there. So that feeds down the back of that shock. So what we'll do next is we'll remove this plastic guide here. So to do that, we need to push it out from the top and then push it up and off from the bottom there. So you can use a pocket screwdriver or trim tool or whatever to leave it off. And you want to be careful because these break very easily. So we'll just sneak this in here, like so, very gently. That's just going to pull that tab out the top. And then if we put this in here, give it a twist, it should come out without too much effort. There we go. Then we need to unhook the end of the cable. To be able to do that, we just need to bend this tab outwards. Use the screwdriver again for that. Doesn't matter if we damage it because we won't be using it again. Now we can feed the remnants of the old cable out. It can be a bit tricky to get out. Remember that was in like that, so you sort of have to shuffle it around and twist it, and that will come out without too much effort. Right, so I've got our brand new cable here on the right hand side, so you just want to lay it next to the old one, make sure that they are the same length because there are different versions of this cable. What I'll do is I'll leave a part number for this one in the description below, but like I say, there are different cables with different part numbers, so just make sure you do have the correct part before you get carried away reinstalling it. So we're going to feed the cable up from the bottom to be able to get it in position because it's not going to fit from the top down because of that plastic piece on the end there. So we'll remove the remnants of the old plastic grommet there. Feed the new one up there. Now it does need feeding behind a little metal tab on the side there. If you look at the other side you can see it. So we need to get through where this bracket is. So what I'll do is I'll just remove this large screw, just open that up enough to slip the cable through and then hook it round rather than remove the whole backrest. Whilst there's plenty of free play in it at the moment, we can insert it to the handle here. Same again, just give it a wee twist to get in position. If we take a look down there, there is a metal tab and you need to be able to route the cable around there, but you need to get it past the bracket that's holding the backrest to the seat base. So what I did is I took out the two large screws and just lifted the backrest up enough to create enough of a gap to get it between the two brackets and then hook it round that tab down the bottom there, so it's all routed correctly now. So I'll put the screws back in position. Now it is worth considering putting a bit of Loctite on these screws just to stop them from backing out, but I plan to go in here again sometime in the future to replace the shocks anyhow, so this will do for now. Right, so now that we're routed correctly, we can now refit it. So we need to get this plastic grommet into position. So this thing gets in the way a bit, so you just need to push that back. I'm going to use a wee trim removal tool just to push that up evenly without bending the cable. Right, now I've got the plastic guide in place, we can now fit the cable to the pin down the bottom. So what we can do to lower the cable, if we pull the handle down, that's going to give us enough room to hook her on there. Back up. That should just snap onto the pin. Give it a bit of persuasion with the old screwdriver. Easy done though with the long nose pliers. We can bend the tab in so it doesn't come off in service. Here we go, it doesn't want much. Put the plastic guide piece in. Now we'll give it the big test. Oh, there we go. Perfect. What I might do before I go any further is just give this mechanism a bit of a clean out, and a bit of a lube, just because they do get gunked up with dirt and fluff and bits and pieces. That hopefully make that move a wee bit freer, so it doesn't end up breaking the cable again in the future. Alright guys, so I've got that mechanism all cleaned up, everything put back together, it's working nice and smooth now. It does want a good lube, that mechanism, but I think I'll do that when I strip the seats down at a later date to replace them gas struts. But for now, it's all functioning beautifully. So everything's back together, the seats are back in the car, and that works as it should do now. So I get passengers in the rear seat without any dramas, so I'm really pleased to have that little job sorted today. Now if you found the video interesting or useful, don't forget to give it a like and make sure you go and check out the rest of my YouTube channel for more BMW E30 content. Consider subscribing if that's your cup of tea. I'm MTech Guy, thanks a lot for watching.